It was my sophomore year of high school when life in my family was just starting to feel normal again. COVID and family health problems had just passed, and we were finally getting to a sense of normalcy. But that's when my dad told us that his mom, my grandmother, was diagnosed with Alzheimer's and would be coming to live with us. I don't really remember the exact moment or the day or pretty much anything leading up to her being with us, but I just remember not knowing what to think, what this was going to look like. I technically met my grandmother when I was a baby, but since then, I had never really seen her again, and my siblings had never met her. Um, and besides FaceTime, like I said, we hadn't really seen her since I was probably around 3. Most of the things that I knew of her came from stories, some good, some bad. I knew she had been a good mom to my dad, but there had also been tension between my mom and her when I was younger. So hearing that she would be living with us didn't necessarily make me excited, but it wasn't like upsetting to me. I was just more unsure of what this was going to look like. After my dad and my brother went and picked her up, um, I remember meeting her, and it wasn't like meeting like or re-meeting a family member or seeing them again and be like, oh, like it's a reunion. It was like meeting a stranger, somebody I had never met before. I didn't know what to say or how to act, but I just remember, you know, thinking that she was a friendly and funny person. At that point, her dementia was just beginning to show. She still recognized my dad, and had some sense of who the rest of us were, but there was obvious signs that things were not quite normal. Sometimes she would repeat herself, forget small details, walk out of the house randomly. Other times her mood would shift quickly, and it was hard to predict exactly how she would react. Um, but it was really hard on our family for quite a while. Just if you have ever known anybody with Alzheimer's, it's a very hard thing for them to have to deal with, and for the caretakers to have to figure out. And that put a lot of frustration and tension and stress on our family. That was hard to live with. And sometimes it felt like, okay, like what are we doing here? Why is she here? Like I don't even know. Like this doesn't even feel like my grandmother. This feels like some stranger we're taking care of. That's just causing harm and stress to the rest of our family. And those were the hard days. Days with frustration just filled the house. And it was just really, really hard. But there were also moments, especially later on, that kind of made everything worth it, especially for me. There was this one time in particular where I was outside in the driveway shooting a basketball, and she came out and just, surprised me, but she was like asking if she could shoot a couple shots and see how well she could do. She did not do well, but it was fun, and it was a fun little interaction. And we just kind of were out there for a little while doing that. And I just remember just kind of letting that moment sink in. Um, it was a great time that we were able to have together. That was rare, um, just from clarity not always being there. But I just remember that I stopped seeing her just as the person causing stress in our home, or who needed so much care that we didn't have the time to give her. But I started seeing her as my grandmother, somebody that I was called to love, but also that I did love, and who was just shooting basketball with me and having a good time. And I think up until then, I had been kind of holding back emotionally. It had been hard to connect with her when the changing of emotion and memory and everything that comes with Alzheimer's. But I realized that I didn't have to know the version of her from the past in order to love the version of her that was with me in the present. I could love the grandmother that I had, even if she wasn't the grandmother that my dad remembered from from his childhood. Looking back now, that season really stretched our family in a lot of ways. It was very hard and so unexpected, but it also taught me patience. Um, I think it also, you know, I was able to kind of step back from the frustrating part of it and really see the person who was hurting. And that just helped grow me in so many ways. But I also got to meet the grandmother that I had, the one who laughed in the driveway and wasn't able to make a shot to save her life. And I think in the end, I learned that sometimes Love isn't about who someone used to be or somebody that you'll never know, but it's about choosing to love who they are right now, in spite of the past, and just enjoying where you're at.